So Jerome Powell and the Fed have already announced the multiple ways that I hope you guys are paying attention to that the Federal Reserve and the Fed is planning on basically wiping out the middle class. And we've all seen it. We're seeing it more and more and more with inflation, with high prices, with job loss, job insecurity. Even the Economic Ninja posted a video yesterday where a young lady was on TikTok and she was crying about having to go back to work for this company culture, which just involved her sitting in an empty office doing the same thing, probably less than she was actually at home. Whereas she's not on her own. Businesses have highly effective and very productive employees that are probably happier and more profitable for these businesses at home rather than at work. But despite all that, there's this company culture where they want you to get back in your cage. They can keep you under their thumb. And, they feel as though if they can't see you, if they can't watch you, then maybe you're not doing your job, which is a ridiculous thought process and poor management skills when you think about it. But at the end of the day, these are the same companies that are going to be looking to lay people off and fire them for the most ridiculous reasons, mainly because of the push by the Fed that has already, Jerome Powell already stated that there will be pain, there will be softening of the economy, and 1.2 million Americans, at the very least, are going to be without jobs. Welcome to the live stream. Thank you for joining. We're going to get into more about the Fed's warning and what this is actually going to mean. But I wanted to give people time to show up because I think we actually started a little bit early. And thank you so much for everyone who's here. And I have a guest with me you may recognize. I don't know what to call her anymore, but she's here with me. She's going to help manage some of these live chats. You got anything so far?
I did change my channel name.
Oh, you changed it already?
I did. So it is now, due to popular demand, my channel name is now just Squirrel Tribe. Squirrel Tribe.
One word?
One word, Squirrel Tribe.
How you spell Squirrel Tribe?
Squirrel Tribe.
There it is.
Rocking it. Make life easier.
And you actually put up a video earlier today.
I did put up a video earlier today, which it'll rub some people the wrong way if you're the kind of person I was talking about in the video.
Hey, look,
That's all I'm gonna say.
you're not going to be liked by everybody.
And that's perfectly okay.
But, there's no doubt that you will tell the truth.
Every single time.
So, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. I'm just going to run through this. Derek, Kimmers, Johnny, Princess, Baby Bear. Now who's laughing?
You have to go, haha.
That's a good one. Raven, Fifth Elemento, Repent or Perish, Joseph, Hecky, M, Flournoy. I might be butchering this. Mary Jane. Welcome, everybody. All right, so what I want to do here is I want to share some information with you all and really break this down so that everyone can get a better idea of what's going on and what's happening, especially with the what the Fed is proposing as they are talking about trying to find ways to reduce inflation and reduce the home prices. Now, granted, this is where we're going to be focused on most of this live stream, are home prices and home affordability and rental prices and things like that, because besides food and water, shelter is a top priority, a top concern. A lot of families are contemplating or have even already been forced to live in their cars, which is unreal. And even those cars are so expensive now, and interest rates are going up. It's a whole nother story. But the Fed is talking about cutting jobs that their thought process is, at least the way they explain it is, if you cut the jobs, then the people won't have the money to stimulate the economy and support the inflation that we're seeing with high demand, low supply. If you reduce the consumer's ability to purchase, then supply will increase as a result of lack of demand. And then the businesses will more than likely be enticed to lower their prices to entice more consumer confidence and more spending. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, with that being said, it ultimately means that people are going to be forced out of their homes, forced to sell them. But if the buyers, the potential buyers, are also in similar situations, which ultimately means the folks lower on the income bracket are going to be pretty much doomed.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that were slightly above them, barely getting by, will be the ones buying up their houses, or in theory, could buy their houses. But in order for them to buy them, the houses are going to have to be at a lower price. So this is part of the process that they think is going to help reduce the price of housing and make it more affordable. But it only makes it potentially, theoretically, more affordable to the higher income bracket and less affordable for the ones who actually own them. But that is not true, because it will not be affordable for anyone for the most part, especially if you're looking to finance and get a mortgage on the property, while also having a reduction in income or possibly no job at all. So many parts to this, so many pieces to this puzzle. We're going to put them together.
But don't forget, the credit comes into play also if you're trying to get a mortgage or a loan for things too.
Now, if you've got comments I need to hit, let me know, because
I'm trying to read everything, but also listen to you. And if you've met me, I have trouble multitasking sometimes. So when you look at me and go, "What do you think?" and I'm like, "Uh huh."
And if you see any bright colors on there, make sure, because I won't see them on here.
Okay.
So what I'm doing for this live stream, and maybe what I'll do is at the end I'll just run through. But what I'm doing for this live stream is I'm actually not using YouTube, or I'm not using my phone as normal. I'm actually using a separate camera and a computer program that allows me to share with you real time, screen share, and show you guys more information. If you're interested in learning how to do this, come on over to the group. The link's in the description. If you want to join, I can show you guys how to do all this for your YouTube channels. It makes live streams a lot of fun. It makes them interactive, and it allows more than just us sitting here talking to you, because we get the visual side to it too. And I think the visual is going to be very important. Any comments? Any chat?
There's a lot of people saying good things, but nothing.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for the kind words. Now we're going to jump into this. You guys ready? I hope so, because you have no other choice. So here we are. I pulled this up. Anybody can pull this up. This is, go to Google, type in mortgage loan calculator, and it will pull up this. It should pull this up. It's built into Google, and it just allows you to calculate mortgage payments based on loan amount, loan term, interest rates. This one doesn't actually. Now, there are some like bankrate.com or others that are on Bank of America's website, or Wells Fargo, or Chase, or anything like that. And they'll actually ask you what your credit looks like. So depending on what, if you got poor, fair, good, or great credit, it'll adjust the interest rate accordingly. So this one doesn't do that. So we'll have to plug that in ourselves. So, and if there's any questions, let me know, because I can't see it on the screen.
No, you're good.
So on this one, we're going to start off with, this is the default. This is what they already plugged in, 7.5%. Now, the crazy part is 7.5% is relatively accurate based on the most recent 75 basis points increase from the Fed. But what is not accurate is the projection for loan amount, because nobody's buying a house for $240,000
because they don't sell them anymore. But look, this is what's absolutely crazy: 7.5%, right? When we got our house, 2 years ago? When we purchased 2 years ago? Was it even 2 years ago?
Let's back that up, because let's just say 8 years ago, 2014, we bought a house.
Yes.
And 2014, I think the interest rate was around 4.5%, 5%. I think. All right, this is. Let me just plug this in. I think this is how much the house cost. I think that's what it was. So we'll say the house was $315,000, and this was back in 2014. And let's just say the interest rate was 4.5%. then it would put the mortgage payment at $1,600 a month. Now, what this calculator doesn't show and doesn't include, like other calculators do, are extras on the monthly payment that get lumped in together, like your insurance, your property mortgage, like your homeowner's insurance, and or your property mortgage insurance, or your PMI if you have PMI, as well as your property taxes, which are typically calculated and then you pay for them monthly through an escrow account, so that when your property taxes are due, the mortgage company pays it, and there's a less likely chance that you won't have the money to pay it, because typically there are thousands of dollars like just hits you, like, hey, you owe the county $8,000. So this doesn't include that. So this number you see here, the $1,600, is just the loan amount and the interest rate amortized over 30 years. So your payment would actually be closer to probably like $2,000 or $2,200 if you were to add all that in. So just remember that this is just the principal amount. Okay. Now, this was 2014. If we take the same house and we were paying quote unquote $1,600 a month for, and we were to apply it today, the same house at today's interest rate, $2,200. That is $400 more. I'm sorry, $600 more per month for the same house.
For the same house. That's
for the same house. Okay. All right. And this is the problem with this affordability nonsense that the Fed is touting. Okay. Because this is where we are today. This is where we are today. Now, you know what isn't accurate for today?
What?
The price of that house.
I was about to say, because that house now is probably $450 or more.
It is actually. Let me just see how much that thing is. I'm gonna see what the Zestimate says, and I had to remember what the damn address was. Because the Zestimate is, they're not always accurate.
They're pretty close though, with whatever's going on in right then and there economy.
And actually, I'm gonna see maybe. Okay, so they didn't sell it since we sold it.
Okay. Which I was actually kind of surprised
about.
Look
at this estimate.
Oh, what the?
I can't show.
Why?
I can't show it to you guys because I don't want to. Let's see here. Actually, I think I can show it to you.
Oh wow!
All right. So.
This.
All right. Now let's just run through the numbers. All right. So, 2014, it was $315. Okay.
Man.
2020.
Yeah.
Was it 2020?
Yeah, it was
2020. It sold for $395.
Yes.
So that same house that we had a monthly payment of $1,600 would have been, with today's interest rates, almost $1,100, $1,200 more, right?
For the exact same house.
But here's the crazy part about it.
Okay.
That's what we sold it for in 2020.
Yes.
So I hope I'm not confusing anybody as I'm jumping around here, but I just want to make sure that I put this into perspective so that everybody can understand what's going on. $1,600. This does not include PMI and escrow and insurance. We're just using this for comparison. So in 2020, we sold it. We were at 4.5. We sold it $395, but because the Fed lowered interest rates,
so their interest rate was lower
because housing
prices were so high,
and it didn't even drop that low yet. So I'm just going to drop it 1%. Okay. I'm going to drop it 1%. So that means that in 2020, we were able to sell the house for $85,000 or $80,000 more than we paid for it. And with the lower interest rates, you would be able to get the same house that was $80,000 more and only pay $180 more per month. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Now.
That's why everybody was going out and buying up $800,000 homes when technically they had a $500,000 budget. Because
the interest rates were lower. Now, This is tragic. This is tragic. This is troubling. I'm gonna try to do this so you guys can see it. So
This is troubling because now my brain's going, we should have rented
th-
this
th-
thing out.
this
We
is
shouldn't
why
have sold. We should have
this
rented
is
it.
why the Fed's plan is not going to work, and it's just going to further destroy the middle class. Is because I'm going to show you, and you can see on the screen where it shows what we sold it. I'm going to show you the Zestimate. Now, granted, the Zestimate is not 100% accurate, but usually is pretty close to the market. And even if it were off by 10%,
Yeah. Yeah.
I want you guys to see this.
Let me. Yeah. Okay. So that's visible. You can see that.
We sold for $395, and they're saying that the house is now worth $556,300. All right, so that's for comparison, okay? So if we were to let's just take that $395 and we'll make it $556,300. Now, here's the worst part. With today's interest rates,
Oh my gosh.
if you run that to 7.5% with today's interest rates, it makes the monthly payment almost $3,900
For the exact same house. That is what kills me. It is the exact same house. Yes, I understand things go up in value and whatever else, but that is ridiculous. That is what math in my head, but that's 3 times
$3,900.
almost
All right.
twice as much as we paid.
Now, the odds that these people will sell this house for anything less than what this Zestimate says it's worth, very slim chance. Not to mention the amount of money that they put down. They're financially safe. They're not going to sell that house. And who knows how many other people are in that situation that decided to put their money into real estate, and they're not going to be walking away from it anytime soon because of all these problems, all these struggles that they're going to be facing, primarily because of the Fed. But let's just say the odd chance came about that they had to sell it, okay? And let's just say Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve and, their plans for quantitative tightening and softening the economy, destroying the labor market and destroying the housing market. Let's just say their plan works. And maybe this house goes on sale for $495.
Wow.
$3,500. I'm rounding up here. $3,500 a month. Which, if we go back to where I started with this whole conversation, this is ideal credit.
Oh yeah, that's ideal credit because
Let's just assume you don't have great credit. $3,800. This is why housing is not going to become affordable based on their idea and theories and what they're telling you is going to happen to make housing more affordable, because it's not. It's not. The interest rates are going to continue to go up. If your credit's not perfect, then you're going to have a higher interest rate, and the longer it takes for it to happen, the higher the interest rates are going to continue to go, as they've already stated that they're going to continue to raise interest rates for like the next 18 months. So,
hey, something to look forward to.
So, like, let's just say based on people that I'm talking to, things that I'm seeing, I'm hearing, I'm reading, what I expect to see, we could see interest rates above 10%, which would then put you at a $4,500 a month. $4,500 a month for the same house.
No, it won't. You know why? Because somebody's going to buy that shit. Because that is stupid expensive. What's going to happen is people are going to be like, you know what? Apartments or rent it or live in a van, live in my car. I'm not paying that.
No, they won't. They won't. But this is why housing won't become affordable, is because, honestly, I think interest rates are going to go beyond that. So if let's just say interest rates hit 12.5% as the Fed slows inflation because nobody can afford shit and they're all out of a job.
Yeah.
And the seller was willing to take $100K off the value, you're still at $4,800 a month.
And what seller is willing to take? It's not willing, it's have to. In order to sell it, they have to.
Yeah.
So you got to use the right wording on that one.
Based on what we sold it for, they would still turn a profit.
Okay.
They would still turn a profit. But
True.
The point is that this house was $1,600 a month in 2014. even after selling it for $80,000 more in 2020 with the lower interest rates, it was $1,700 a month. And we're projected to go towards this housing affordability nonsense and high interest rates, and people's jobs are on the line and at risk. And it's going to be $4,800. It's going to be like $3,000 more per month for the same house. Now,
You know how this works? Because you got to go back to multi-generational living. You have to have grandparents, great-grandparents, parents, children, everybody living in one place.
so if it actually costs $3,000 more per month, that is $36,000 more per year after tax that you'd have to have available to purchase the house.
And it's not like employers are paying you more.
Actually, I take it back, to afford the house.
Yes.
Because I don't want to get off track here, but we have oh, I hit the wrong button. We have to talk about, that was affording the house, okay? Monthly. We have to talk about buying the house. We have to talk about, see, that was
the
that was
down
just the
payment,
math.
oh,
That was just the math that you
That's
could
even worse.
expect to see month to month, okay? How are we doing on comments?
oh, we're good. So we've got a couple in here where people are talking about. One person was like, you can't actually own a home. You can't own your home or your land or whatever else because technically the government can just come in and take it whenever they want.
So technically, you can own the asset, you can own the real asset, but when you think about it, the land itself is always going to be under the control of the government.
Mm-hmm.
If no matter what you do, if you fail to pay property taxes, they'll come and foreclose. There's even unfortunately the crazy idea that a homeowners association can foreclose, because I saw that happening a lot in a neighborhood in Colorado, where they were imposing ridiculous fines and penalties on these houses for nothing, and then immediately foreclosing on them, giving the owners like no ability to even correct these crazy fines that were just ridiculous. They were using loopholes.
Mm-hmm.
But then and that's not even the government. When you get the government involved, if they want to impose eminent domain, they'll offer you a laughable sum, and you can either take it and leave, or you can take nothing and leave.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about it, most homeowners, most folks out there lack the knowledge and education to fight it. And even if they had it, they probably lack the funds to fight it, because lawyers are expensive. And they're even more expensive if you lose. So now let's talk about this. If you guys are ready, if y'all are ready for this, let's talk about buying the house. Okay. This is all pre-populated. This is pre-populated. And I'm not laughing at anybody for these numbers. I'm laughing at this calculator for plugging these numbers in, because they're basing this off of a yearly household income before taxes of $57,000. And I already know, based on comments and emails and clients and conversations, that $57,000 would be a dream for before tax income for a lot of families out there. Here's the other one: monthly debts, credit cards, loans, etc.
Oh, because people don't take that into consideration. I mean, most people do have some form of debt, whether it's small or large. I don't know anybody personally that has no debt whatsoever.
$250 a month.
Jeez, really? So somebody smoked crack and then made this thing. Got it.
It's not. Wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more.
So not only do you make 57 grand, which we know isn't common, not only are your debts only $250 a month, which is not common.
Ridiculous, yeah.
Your down payment is 60 grand cash. You make $57,000 a year. Where are you getting 60?
You have to save from birth. Basically, go ahead and start your piggy bank, and by the time you're 40, you can get your first house.
But here's the kicker. Mm-hmm. It's for a house that you can never buy, because it says that your budget is $227,500. Okay. Now, let's just say you're in most parts of the country and homes. Let's come up with a number and see. Actually, let's do this backwards.
Okay.
Let's anybody in the chat, what is the average? Can we get some numbers coming in here for the average before tax income for the household, whether it's like all the money coming in, you, a significant other, spouse, kids, anybody, everybody, roommates. If you're going to go in on halfsies on the mortgage, can we get some numbers for what the yearly household income is before tax? This is if you're on a salary and they say you make 60 grand a year, that's the number we're looking for, not after they take out taxes, after they take out health and insurance and take out 401ks and things like that. What we got there?
We got a 243.
243. All right, nice. I see that RX. Are you in healthcare? Are you pharmacist?
And then another one, 80,000.
We got Calvin at 80,000 and 240-ish. Yeah, that's definitely before
that
tax.
Makes way more sense for that high income.
100K-ish. It says it's Kevin, not Calvin. Oh,
he doesn't know you're reading.
All right, so let's just go with 100K, and you make FJB. Got it. Okay, so we'll go with 100K. Let's go with 100K. All right, and it says the monthly debts are $250,000 or $250 a month, but we know that that's not necessarily true. Credit cards, loans, etc. I mean, I think the average car payment now is like $600 or $700 a month. So what would we say monthly debts? You know, we got credit cards, we got car loans, we got student loans, we got, all other debts that'll fall on your credit report.
And we're going with minimum monthly payments for these debts, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would say most people, in all honesty, are probably at least $1,500.
All right. So we go $1,500 monthly debts. And let's just say you had access to $60,000 for a down payment. So based on these figures here, you're only able to buy a home for $232,400. You subtract the $60,000 down payment, and you'll be financing $172,400 for 30 years at 7.372%.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That's what you can afford. Now,
that's so much more than our very first house.
The question is, can you find anything? Can you find an affordable home today for that price? Because here's what will happen. Let's just say you wait. Let's just say you wait a month. Let's just say you wait a month or two, and we see the interest rates go up by 100 basis points, right? So now you can only afford $219. And here's the thing. The odds are that the interest rates are going to increase rapidly, but your income is not.
But you also have to think about the fact that the houses that are going up today, it costs so much more to build them because of inflation of materials, because of labor and everything else, because of insurance that companies have to carry. So finding a starter home, your starter home is going to cost you more than the most we've ever spent on a house, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. So this whole affordable
for who is the main question.
Is so outlandish, is so ridiculous. Do not buy into this. This is not true. It's going to become more affordable for the investors, for the people with tons of money, great credit, more than likely cash, because they're not going to be paying these high interest rates. So like let's just say we're looking at spring 2023, which, honestly, we could easily see over 10% spring 2023. So let's just say we're spring 2023 and you want to buy a home because everything that Jerome Powell and the Fed's talking about is working and homes are becoming more affordable. What would it take for you to buy, let's just say, a $400,000 house? I think $400,000 is a good number depending on your city, your state, your location. I feel like 400 should be able to get you something really good or maybe something even really nice. But I do know like where we were in Georgia, 400,000 is like, it's okay, but you're probably like 6-7 now.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, our very first house that we bought in 2010, we bought it in 2010 for $135. I'm pretty sure is in the threes.
No, you're right.
And it's a starter home. Like it is the basic of the most basic. And it has more than doubled in price for no reason. It's the same flipping house.
So now if we're going to take that into consideration and we're going to go 40 grand or 400 grand, we're going to leave this down payment at 60 grand. Although you could probably get away with a lower down payment of maybe like 10%, which would be 40 grand. Or maybe even if you went the route of Bank of America and you qualified for some of these cities and locations where they're doing the zero down,
Hmm.
it would eliminate the down payment. But all that's going to do is increase your monthly payment. But we can talk about that some other time. The question is, what do we have to do to manipulate your income to allow you to be able to qualify for a $400,000 home spring of 2023 if we were to see interest rates at 10.3-ish%? How much would you have to make to qualify? What would be your salary before tax?
To qualify for a 400, your salary before tax, you've probably got to be at least 150K a year.
Not even close. Not even close.
It's more than that?
Let's put 150 in, see what happens. All right, you're getting there, but you're still off. You're still off.
And this is why I say multi-generational, because in order to hit that 150, mom, dad have to work, kid has to go to school and chip in. You got to have grandma in there throwing her social security in with the whole bunch. Like
$175,000 a year to qualify to go under contract for a $400,000 house, assuming you have access to the $60,000 down payment and your monthly debts do not exceed $1,500 a month. So the question is, how many folks out there are pulling in $175,000 a year who will be candidates for this affordable housing that the Fed is pushing for? Crickets?
Crickets.
Cricket tribe.
Cricket tribe. On your hand, it's cold. Cricket tribe, yes.
Yeah. So, hopefully, I hope I didn't lose anybody in this exercise and this demonstration.
He starts throwing in numbers,
and
y'all,
these
and I'm like, what?
calculations because the Fed is pushing for a reduction of over 1 million jobs. 1.2 million is what Jerome Powell said. And when asked if that's the number, he goes, I don't know. I don't know.
And he's the one making all this crap up, and he didn't even know.
I don't know. There will be some pain. It's going to suck. It's going to hurt. A lot of families are going to,
But not in his realm.
But the goal is to reduce inflation by softening the job market and reducing consumer spending. And hopefully it should drive down inflation and drive down some of these housing prices. Yeah, we're going to lose a lot of jobs. The unemployment rate is going to go up. And we'll see what happens. We hope it works.
Living the American dream.
We hope it works. A lot of folks out there are wondering, will the Fed pivot? Will the Fed reverse course? And honestly, if they don't stand their ground, they don't keep their foot down, and they do reduce interest rates, they do print more money, they do prop up the economy like we're seeing in other countries that their economy has basically just failed overnight, or at least they've recognized and admitted the failure because they didn't fail overnight. They've been failing for years. If they do that, then yeah, we could find ourselves in a situation like Venezuela where you've got a wheelbarrow full of money to go buy a loaf of bread because inflation is just out of control. It's out of control. But even if that does happen, inflation will be out of control, but your income is not going to increase anywhere near close to the rate at which inflation is going up. So this affordability thing it's a myth. It's a joke. I mean, if you're not actively out there on your grinding to increase your income and reduce your debts and get your budget in check, the Fed can't help you. They have intentions on it, tell you this story, but at the end of the day, it's not going to help you. And it's only going to help those who are using this as a tool to build their wealth through the housing market, through real estate, through stocks, through investments, through crypto. The Fed controls it all.
So this is just I just want to say there's a comment here from Astatine85. I don't know how to say it. Says never do HOA and get mineral rights, especially land. By default, you own them in the US, but they could have been sold, inherited many generations ago. So you have to hunt down records in your county. Now, let me say, we actually looked at buying a house a few years ago, and it turns out there was a lot of granite in the ground. And so we could not own the mineral rights to it because of what was around the house and in the land That was something we could not own. At any point in time, government could have come in and been like, "Hey, I'm going to go ahead and take this from you real quick. We want this granite." So we didn't buy the house because we weren't willing to place that bet that they wouldn't come in and just take our stuff.
And then the other thing is, as far as don't do the HOA. All right, most of these newer neighborhoods are going to have a HOA. Some of the older neighborhoods may even incorporate a HOA, but the opportunities are going to be limited on some of these properties that don't include HOA. But the thing is, let me show this to you guys again. Let me pull this up so you guys can see it. The thing is let's just run this $400,000 house at, let's just say 10.5%. These are just projections. Let's just say like spring of 2023, a $400,000 house at 10.5%, depending on interest rates, depending on your credit. This is just a guess. Hopefully, I'm way off. Hopefully, it never gets to this point. But let's just say, worst case scenario, it would cost you $3,600 a month, $3,700 a month before all the extras are added onto your mortgage payment. What do you think the rent prices are going to be like?
Astronomical.
Because no one is going to have a comp next door in the neighborhood down the street anywhere near you in your zip code. They're not going to have a comp of a home or a condo or townhouse or any possible dwelling worth 400 grand that they're going to rent out for less than market value.
Yeah.
So it's like, avoid the HOA. Great. Perhaps maybe go the route of renting to avoid HOA, because you can't always buy without a HOA. And then, then it's not your problem, it's someone else's, because your landlord actually owns a property. But at the end of the day, the rents are going to rise at a record pace to keep up with the drive. Like, even if the home prices come down, but the interest rates go up, the monthly payment remains the it ends up being the sum of these equal parts. And they'll just look at that and say, look, you can't buy here for less than $3,700 a month, less than 60 grand down, less than making 175K a year with good credit. So I'm not going to rent it to you for any less than that. Why would I do that?
Well, you also have to take into consideration that people who own the properties that can rent them out understand that either you A cannot get a loan for a mortgage, so you have to rent, or B, you don't want to have to put all that money down up front and deal with the land and everything else. So they know that they can charge you a little bit more than a regular mortgage would be, because for the benefits of not having your own mortgage, you'd be willing to pay just a little bit more. So it's kind of a lose-lose. What's my phrase? Crap in one hand and wish in the other and see which one fills up faster. It's something like that. And that's how it is with, rental and mortgage right now. Like, there is no win in either scenario.
Well, the worst part about it is, if you come in and you spend that much and the interest rate is crazy high, at best, I think, in my opinion, at best, and you guys can argue with me on this if you want, at best, the home prices come down. Great. The Fed's plan worked. Housing is more affordable. But that just means the comps are reduced. That means your home's value, your equity in your home has been reduced. But your interest rate is high. Okay. Even better scenario. We found a genie. We get 3 wishes. All right. The prices come down and the interest rates come down as well. But now the home is worth less than what you bought it for. So now you have an upside down negative equity in this property, but you're looking at it like, I need to lower my interest rate so I can spend less per month. But because the home is now worth less because of affordable housing, you have to come out of pocket a huge chunk of cash to cover the difference of what it's now not worth because you paid too much. So it's really going to create this pressure point where it's really going to disrupt buyers from spending anywhere near what market is or what even current appraisals are, with the fear and speculation of the future of increased interest rates, not knowing when you can refinance, and the possibility of the Fed's plan actually working and driving down home values. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I don't want to continue to beat this dead horse, but I did want to make sure that you guys were aware of what was going on and what it could potentially mean.
I want to just, Irene commented, thank God we were frugal with our money when we were younger. We pull in 90 grand a year and own 3 homes outright. My husband was a truck driver and I was a stay-at-home mom. Now, that's not really totally the topic of this, but I do believe that if you want to be able to basically afford the basics of life, there are going to be areas where you now have to be willing to cut back. And the only reason why I think a lot of people are in severe debt or unable to afford a lot of things is because we try to keep up with the Joneses and we watch too many commercials and we're pressured into buying things we don't really want or need. And then we just have way too much crap. So that's that.
No, you're absolutely right, and we have another topic that we have to cover. It will not be on this video, but I will share a little bit with you where it says I'm paycheck to paycheck. I make $350,000 a year, but I have $88,000 in student loans, $170,000 in car loans, and a mortgage, and I pay $4,500 a month for all that. um, where their car loans were, I think their car loans, two electric cars, so they probably got Teslas, $170,000 between the two cars. And you're saying to yourself, well, why is that the case? Well, it's because they were trying to keep up with the Joneses. They wanted to have the new Tesla, the new Model 3, the new Model Y, whatever it is. They wanted to have the new Hummer EV and whatever it is, you got to have it. And it's like, well, that doesn't make sense. You could go out, you could buy a much more affordable, less expensive vehicle, probably pay cash for it, not have this monthly expense, and be paying 5% interest on it. Yet now you're struggling. You make an enormous amount of money that most people would dream, like love to have,
Mm-hmm.
but you live paycheck to paycheck, and now you have no idea what to do. And you would think this is the prime example of a household income that's going to go out there and scoop up real estate, but they're not. They're probably going to be the prime example of a household that ends up defaulting on their loans, going bankrupt, possibly getting foreclosed on, and winding up out on the street.
So when I was younger, I used to go to my grandmother's house, and on the way, I would pass like a trailer park. And the trailers, some of them are in really good condition, some of them were extremely run down. And I remember there was one trailer that was the worst looking one. I swear it had like rusted out front and the roof was all messed up. And it had a brand new Chevy Corvette sitting in the driveway every single day. And even as a child, I remember going, huh, don't you think you'd rather live someplace safe as opposed to have a flashy car? Like that was my thought. Like if your home is rusting out around you, that feels like a non-safe place to live. So why is it that the car was more important? It's because nobody could see where they live, but they could see where they drove. And so to me, even as a child, I thought, oh, he's trying to look fancy. So other people around him are like, hey, look at that guy driving the Corvette.
Right? Everybody's priorities are in different places.
Yeah.
Everybody's priorities are different places, and people will always say like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you rent an apartment." I can. I can because
Mm-hmm.
I am paying attention to what's going on. And we sold at the top and are looking at it and waiting for the opportunity where there is some form of affordability as these prices come down and we're going to get back in. Like you have to, depends on what your goal is. Is your goal to look a certain way or is your goal to actually accomplish a certain thing?
Mm-hmm.
So, let me know if you guys appreciate this live stream, if you liked what we did here, going through these numbers and having this conversation. If you do, drop a comment so I know. Give the live stream a like, share it so that other people can get this information, and I'll try to do it again. But if you guys hated it, then
Still
just
give it a thumbs up just
yeah.
because we appreciate that more than a thumbs down.
But we do appreciate it, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.